I've got a lot to update you on. So first of all, thank you so much to all of you who have lifted my son James up in prayer. If you don't know, James spent 6 weeks in the hospital in really bad shape. He had an infection that was in his blood and his spinal fluid and ultimately in his brain. And at only a few weeks old, that's really scary. But I can confidently say that by the power of prayer and through the hand of our loving God, he's been healed. He is a happy, healthy baby. And I do want to take time and give his story and testimony more justice, but you guys can look forward to that if you want to see it. I'm just so thankful. And as for archery stuff, there's been a lot of updates there as well. One second. We now have Easton 5.0s, obviously one of the most hyped up arrows on the market right now. Between, I don't know, maybe the UV1Ks are taking a dip on their popularity, but really the top two dogs dominating the conversation around arrows right now is the Easton 5.0 and the Victory HLR. I'm not partial to either one at this point. I haven't even seen the HLR with my own eyes. The Easton 5.0 is what my local pro shop had in stock. Setting them up with everything I wanted to try. I'm trying a 4-fletch instead of a 3. I want to run lighted nocks and a 125 point and a wrap on the back. Because these things are so light, I can kind of get away with it. But we'll talk about that in depth later as well. I wanted to go outside and get some bow stuff done today. So I've been a little under the weather, which is just such unfortunate timing. You know, tomorrow I have a 12-hour race that I'm gonna be running. And to be completely honest, my confidence level is a little, there's a little asterisk on it because my goal is 50 miles. I want to run 50 miles. But I made that goal when it was going to be like 70 degrees outside.
Expecting strong sunshine today with highs in the triple digits,
that's
104
kind of the situation we're
this
dealing
afternoon,
with.
Lincoln.
One more thing before going outside. I have heard countless good things about running these really cheap lighted nocks from Amazon. I know there's Key Up and then maybe one other brand that's very popular. This company, Deep Power, sent me out a dozen lighted nocks to try. We got some orange ones and some green ones. I have historically ran these Halo nocks on my 4mm, and I have had great success with the Halo nocks. So I have a ton of these just laying around now because obviously the Easton 5.0 is a 5mm arrow. But these things are significantly cheaper than a Halo nock, a Nocturnal, or any other of those primary brands. So I'm gonna shoot these a ton. I'm thinking I wanna get like at least 1,000 arrows on these before I have an opinion to see if they're durable, to see how well the light mechanism actually holds up, to see if we have any kind of accuracy or knock fit issues. I'm really curious at their price point. Let me know if that's something you wanna see, if you wanna learn more about these bad boys. So let me tell you a little bit about the arrow setup that we are tinkering with. I wouldn't say I'm committed to it yet. So it is the Easton 5.0. It comes with a hit insert system where you have your hidden insert inside and the collar over the top. It's pretty hard to beat that when it comes to durability. It comes out to like 34 grains total for that insert system, 34 to 36, I can't quite remember. So with the 125 up front, that puts 160 grains on the front of this arrow, which with the full setup that I have a 5.5-inch wrap in the back with a 4-fletch air razor, 23. That puts the FOC with a lighted nock at 14 and change, which should be plenty. It's pretty cool that none of the weight of this arrow is in the middle. It means you can put the weight where you want it. So you can stack a little bit more in the front to get the FOC you want. Not that that's the most important thing, but you can get that weight in the front if you want it and still run a pretty heavy setup in the back like this. Not bad. And for me, the jury is still out on a 3 versus a 4-fletch, but I can't have an opinion unless I run the 4-fletch for a significant amount of time. So that's what I'm doing. So today I kind of wanted to walk you through my process of setting a sight tape up. Step 1, do not shoot on a day like today. It is windy as crap. The good news is I already have a couple sight marks ballparked in. The only thing that's changed is putting the lighted nocks on. So very, very slight increment. We've got 12 grains more weight on the back of the arrow. Let's see where we're at. Pro tip on your sight tape, do not shoot it when it's super windy like this. You want to get as good of data as possible. Here we have a 435 grain arrow. I chronographed it without the lighted nocks. So take off, you know, that 12 grains, 13 grains there. And I was at like 302 feet a second. So he should be right around 300, a little over 300. My first mark here is 40. 82 something pounds. 28-inch draw length. Ooh, that wind, baby. Bottom side of the dot there. Which again, would make sense. We're talking about a little bit heavier arrow now. That's low, like pretty dang low. Let's go ahead and come up just a hair. My gosh, that wind is crazy. I'm 6 feet off the target right now. Real low still, I think. The knock fit on these is really good. On these lighted nocks. Super loose, but it clicks on. It's not gonna fall off. That's exactly what we wanna see. Important thing to note, I guess, is to get these to fit inside of the Easton 5.0s, I did have to sand them just a hair. So I just put it on some like 220 sandpaper, spun it a couple times. Only a couple seconds per knock, but it's worth noting. Okay. Looks like we're more in the ballpark here now. Okay. Just a little bit higher on the sight tape, which again makes sense. We added some weight. So if you've been following the archery anything for a little while, you'd probably be familiar with precision cut archery. That's what I use to make all my sight tapes. And the philosophy around it all, the most important theme is if you put garbage in, you get garbage out. So, like when it comes to shooting on a super windy day like today, this would be a good example of putting garbage in. But really, I'm just confirming data I got yesterday when it wasn't so windy and I could shoot really well. First thing in my process, before creating a sight tape, I'm gonna get my bow tuned and perfect. So for me, what that means is having my arrow completely set up, getting my timing perfect, getting a bullet hole through paper after the strings have settled. So I've already put a couple hundred arrows through these strings, and now I'm ready to start my sight tape. So as I was saying before, the camera overheated. Your process should start at sighting in your 20 yards perfectly. But when it comes time to input information into precision cut, which I'll show you later, if you're not using the lab radar method where you get your speeds at multiple distances, if you're like me and you don't have that kind of equipment, Tristan, the owner, the creator of Precision Cut, he recommends that your first data set, your shorter of the two distances you input in, is beyond 30 and ideally 40 yards. Because your 20-yard mark can look perfect, but can be a serious change on your actual sight tape. So for me, I got my 20-yard mark good. I'm gonna get my shorter data input at 40, which for me on this sight tape that's currently on here is 35. And then we're gonna step back to 60 and verify that it's still 50 on this sight tape. If that's the case, I'll show you what's next. If it starts to look like I'm sweating my nuts off, your eyes do not deceive you. It is hot out here. It's like 90 something degrees. I got this jacket on and these pants. I'm trying to heat acclimate the best I can before tomorrow. That one broke nice. That one's mine. That one broke low left. Like, not good. Let's see. Yeah, low left. That was okay. They're breaking low. I don't know if it's just my arms getting tired trying to fight that wind. I mean, I had a really nice group there, just a couple inches below the target, but it's not on. One of the best conclusions that I've come to when I've been experimenting a lot with bow tuning and setting up sight tapes over the past couple years is don't get too married to your sight tape. Your sight tape should get better over time, meaning it's not a set it once here early summer and it's good throughout the rest of the year. It's something that you should continue to verify over the course of a couple months. Like this is probably one of 3 sight tapes that I'll make before I leave for elk and mule deer hunting in September. 2 measurements to get. You're gonna get your center of the arrow to the center of the peep, and then center of the peep to your pins.
Okay.
Three and 5/8, 28.5. If you're gonna use this sight-in strategy, you can get away with a tape measure, but I heavily recommend you get a dial caliper or a digital caliper of some sort. This thing was super, super cheap from a local hardware store. I think it was like $7, maybe 12 at max. Get you a caliper. So we're here at the computer now. I'm gonna share my screen so you can see everything that I see. And all you have to do to get started on Precision Cut, by the way, not sponsored. Tristan, if you're interested, hit me up. You're just gonna click My Setups and Add Bow. You can call it whatever you want. For me, it'll be Lift 33. And I like putting the sight on there as well, just so it's really easy to read. Dual track. Peep. 3 and 5/8. And then that sight radius. That's gonna be your distance from the center of your peep to your pins, which for me, 28.5. Now you created the bow, you have to add your arrow, okay? For me, this is gonna be the Easton 5.0. 4 fletch, total arrow weight, we were at 435. I think that's gonna be the average between them all. And you'll see this button pop up right here, sight in. Calculate density altitude is new to me. I'm right at 1,000 feet, temperature right now, let's go 90, 58. 3367 as our density altitude. This is where you'll see a couple different sight-in methods, okay? So your quick start, your 3 sight marks, and your downrange speed. So downrange speed is the easiest, the most effective way to create a perfect sight tape. I don't have the equipment to do so. So you have a couple different options. Launch speed and 2 sight marks. This is extremely precise and is the recommended method. So I know my arrow is 15-ish grains heavier than it was when I got that chronograph reading. I will get a new one. Again, I just want to get a sight tape on this bow so I can shoot. I'm gonna put it right at 300. For at 302, you add 15 grains, you're 300, 301, you're somewhere in there. 300.5. Okay, so here is where you can enter your sight-in ranges. This is the important note. For best results, these should be as far apart as possible, and the closest range should usually be at least 30 yards. So for me, I'm gonna do a 40 and a 60. Historically, I've done 40 and 70, but again, I'll get some of that better data when it's not so windy, when I'm not trying to heat acclimate, when I can shoot the bow as best as possible. For now, 40, 60, okay? I will measure with a caliper, distance between sight marks. And what I will do is measure the distance between where I found my 40 is. That's right at 35 on this old sight tape. Distance between 35 and 50. 0.29 as my distance between those 2 sight marks. 0.29. Create sight in. Boom. So just like that, we now have a sight tape. You enter this information, and now you'll have sight tapes. Click on the sight tapes tab here. We have the correct setup activated. And here we are. Starting range will make 20 yards. Ending range, let's put a sight tape out to 140. I don't think I can shoot that far as sight clearance. Obviously, wouldn't even get close to that on an animal. But it's nice to be able to when you're practicing. The max length you can put on a dual track It's right about 2 1/4. So we'll make this 2 1/4. So there is a ton of customization you can do here on Precision Cut's website. Some people like to remove the first digit, remove the third for their 100-yard marks. I don't really care about those. What I end up doing on my sight tapes though, just to make it really clear, is I change my line weight and width a little bit. So I make my 10s a little bit longer and my 5s a little bit longer than those in-between yardages. I'm gonna stick with black for anything except my 10s. Download PDF. So you download this PDF, this is what's gonna pop up. It'll have all of your information here on the right, and it'll have a scale checker with a credit card you can pop on there. Important thing, when you're printing this out, when you go to more settings, whether you're on like a Mac or a PC, what you need to make sure is your scale here is not at fit to paper or fit to printable area. Even default, depending on your system, might be a little bit off. To be safe, I go custom 100. So it's 100% scale. It prints at the size that it should be. Go ahead and print that out. Sight tape pop on the printer, throw it on, and verify it. Super easy. And like I said, this is something I expect to do 3, maybe 4 more times before September rolls around. Anyways, guys, you made it this far. Please drop a like and subscribe for more archery and hunting videos coming. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see me make another sight tape here that's a little more accurate once I get some more data. But quick setup on the sight tape. It's super easy. I do like Precision Cut Archery. It's like 35 bucks a year. Anyways, thank you for watching. Drop a comment what you want to see next, whether it's lighted nocks or anything else. And may God bless you all.